Hello and welcome to Newshour. I am David Patrick Kamara. Coming up in this edition of Newshour, Sierra Leone joins other countries to observe World Toilet Day. Ministry of Information and Communications organized a dialogue session with the Information Communications Technology section. And the National Revenue Authority Anti-Smuggling Unit apprehends a truckload of assorted drugs. All these stories and more are lined up in this edition of Newshour. Welcome back and thanks for joining us for our first story tonight. The world is not on track to reach Sustainable Development Goal 6 to ensure available and sustainable management of sanitation and water for all by 2030. According to reports, 4.5 billion people live without safety managed sanitation and 892 million people still practice open defecation. The impact of exposure to human feces on the scale has a devastating impact on public health, living conditions, nutrition, education, economic productivity across the world. This is according to the United Nations and its partners. World Toilet Day is about taking action to ensure everyone has a safe toilet. Rose Konima-Stevens reports.
The Sustainable Development Goal 6 aims to ensure that everyone has a safe toilet and that no one practices open defecation by 2030. Failure to achieve this goal risks the entire agenda for sustainable development. World Toilet Day is about nature-based solutions to address sanitation needs. Millions of people the world over don't have toilet facilities. As a result, human feces is on a massive scale, thereby contaminating the water and soil that sustain human life. Some of our environments are turning into an open sewer. Toilets need to be built and sanitation systems must work in harmony with ecosystems if the country is to achieve effective and reliable development. Executive Director Social Aid Board Volunteers Alfred Doumbouya said his institution joins the government and other partners in the fight against open defecation.
The rest of Sierra Leone to celebrate or commemorate the World Toilet Day with the theme, When Nature Call. When nature call, we must think about using the toilet. When nature call, we must think about using the 5 critical hand washing practice. When nature call, we must think about avoiding open defecation. SLAV, in collaboration with government stakeholders and civil society organizations, mark this day as a way of showcasing the work we have been doing in Sierra Leone for the past years.
Public Relations Officer, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Solomon Rogers said the ministry develops the policy that will improve sanitation and hygiene. He noted that the 1960 Public Health Ordinance will be improved upon to work in the interest of Sierra Leoneans. Chief Executive Officer Washnet Musa and Sumana Soko informed SLBC that open defecation is a menace that needs urgent attention, noting that the World Toilet Day is set aside by the world over to improve on health and sanitation generally.
Toilet Day is celebrated every year on the 19th of November, as a way to solidify our collective call as civil society in urging government and development partners to scale up access to basic and improved sanitation services. So at the country level, Sierra Leone has only 13% of citizens having access to improved sanitation services, which translates into 6,090,000 people that they no more get access. That they not get access, So this basically calls for, greater and robust urgent action on the part of government, and this is why civil society is joining colleagues around the world to be able to urge, government as well as development partners in making sure that no one dies as a result of lacking access to sanitation services. Already we know how this has bearing and nexus on the larger health sector, how we have a very weak health infrastructure. But when you look at the theme for this year, it's about linking the nexus between toilet as well as its connection to the larger ecosystem. How do we keep the environment as safer as possible? So the day itself is one great opportunity to be able to rally around policy stakeholders as well as people in charge of translating these policies in reality. So 13% of citizens have access, but more and more are in the queue, in the access queue, waiting for the services.
4.5 billion people live without a safe toilet, and 1.8 billion people use a drinking water source that will be contaminated with feces. And 62.5% people don't have access to proper safe sanitation globally. Bankole Koroma resides at Bay. He said they are constrained with a better toilet facility as most communities along the seafronts. He therefore appeals to government and other humanitarian organizations for help. SLBC News, Rose Konima Stevens.
The Deputy Commissioner, Anti-Smuggling Unit and Borders Control Management of the National Revenue Authority, Richard Hindolo Senesi, and his team have apprehended a truckload of assorted drugs, food and non-food items in Kenema. The items will have paid 19 million loans as tasked to the National Revenue Authority if gone through the proper checking by customs officers. The Deputy Commissioner said the truck driver invaded customs by passing through Kenema to another country, but was intercepted by the police. The truck and the driver are now in police custody for further investigation. He explained more to Hawa Mosiru in this interview about the apprehension of the truck.
Listeners and viewers, as she rightly said, I'm Richard Hindolo Senesi, Assistant Commissioner, Anti-Smuggling Unit and Border Controls Management. I just took up office. I was doing a tour to assess actually what is going on the borders of this country. So I went all the way to Jendema. On my way back, we got an intelligence, my team and I, the manager of our station, Mr. Mohammed M. Kaikai, and the officer in charge of the south and the east, Mr. Benjamin Kagbo. After the tour from Jendema, we got an intelligence that there is a truck that was supposed to be coming from Guinea going to Liberia in transit. The final destination was supposed to be Liberia, but unfortunately, the truck decided to go into Kenema and it stopped in Kenema. So we we spoke to the police, the LUC in Kenema and the other police officers for the truck to be arrested and detained in Kenema police station. So that was done on Friday. We continued on our tour. We went to Kailaun and came back. On Saturday, we decided to actually do a 100% check on the truck to see what was actually inside of the truck. My officer in charge, Mr. Benjamin Kagbo, was in charge of doing the checking, the 100% checking, and it was supervised by myself and Mr. Kaikai. We did the checking and realized that they had a lot of contrabands in their stuff that were not supposed to, items that were not supposed to be in the truck. Like, for example, tramadol and other form of drugs. And they also made a legal declaration to the customs at Balamuya, because whatever we had on the manifest was not what was in the truck. So as a result, we were supposed to be levied a penalty, and they are supposed to pay the taxes that was evaded by them.
As we speak now, where is the truck and what have you done, towards that in terms of invading taxes, from the checkpoint?
All right. One of the reasons why they said it was a transit, because normally, according to international best practice, custom laws, if the truck is going on transit, they are only supposed to pay transit fee, which is 0.5%. So as a result, they only paid something like 1 point something million loans to customs, as opposed to the declaration, which was supposed to be about 18 to 19 million leons. So they evaded taxes for about 18 million, or almost 17 to 18 million leons. So that alone is something they have to pay back. And the officer has done his calculation. They're supposed to pay times 3% of whatever the total cost is supposed to be of the items that are in the truck. The truck is the custody of the police, the LUC. I want to commend them, the LUC in Kenema, CSP Amara, and the other police officers for the total cooperation. They held onto the truck for us, and they even gave us space for us to be able to do our check, our evaluation and everything.
So are they going to pay the balance tax that they invade?
Yes, they're definitely going to pay. That's why the truck is still in police custody. The items, not only the truck, but the items are with the police until they pay and get a receipt. They will take back the receipt to the police before they will allow them to take their goods.
So are you going to continue doing the same check in the other regions across the country? Because we have a series of porous border areas within Sierra Leone.
Well, that is my job. You know, the only thing is that, I mean, definitely it's going to be on the spot check. I'm not going to stand out here and start explaining the strategy I'm going to use. I just took over office, and definitely we have over 800 crossing points in the country. The task is Herculean, and we have to make sure we do what we have to do to minimize smuggling.
That was the Deputy Commissioner, Anti-Smuggling Unit and Border Controls Management of the National Revenue Authority, Richard Hindolo Senesi, speaking there to Hawa Mosiri. The German Development Bank has supported the National Commission for Social Action, NACSA, with 20 million euros for the implementation of the Growth for Peace Consolidation Phase 2, which will cover agriculture and the improvement of feeder roads in Kono, Kailang, and Koinadugu districts. The forum took place at the NACSA Conference Hall in Freetown. Maeni Mansari filed in this report.
Still considered as a fragile state. Against that backdrop, the German government is sponsoring the German Peace Consolidation Program to provide employment for youth, to improve rural communities, and to improve feeder roads, bridges, and culverts. The ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, Horst Gruner, said they will continue to support Sierra Leone to promote community-based, demand-driven, and sustainable development activities and to alleviate poverty in rural communities. The Commissioner of NACSA, Abu Bokari Kokofele, said the Commission is planning on expanding the Growth Peace Consolidation Phase 2 to Bont and Karine districts.
Give us money to implement projects to empower communities. It is just normal that they come to see what their money has done in the community, the impact of their investment in the country. So they'll be going tomorrow to the field to have first-hand direct engagement with the community people out in the field where the projects are being implemented. But they wanted to engage with me first, with the team here at our headquarters.
He thanked the delegation for their kind gesture, assuring them to continue working in improving rural communities through the implementation of the program. The head of German delegation, René Frank, said the achievements of NACSA are impressive.
The reason for our mission is that, first of all, as you may know, there is a long and traditional cooperation between Germany and Sierra Leone and in economic development. And what we would like to learn more about the recent strategy and the recent strategies and, of course, the new policies that came up after the peaceful election, the new government.
The program manager of the Growth for Peace Consolidation, Salifu Mansare, said one of the challenges the second program is facing is no counter-funding from the government towards activity of the implementation.
The Sierra Leone Agricultural Research Institute, in collaboration with Africa Rice, has trained farmers on indigenous knowledge to increase rice productivity through low-cost swamp development and agronomic practices. The farmers were showcased at the northern town of Binti in the Karine district, where they attended Swamp Valley Rice Innovation Forum under the Slurry Smart Valley project. Soriba Samura reports.
Farmers in the Dibia Kase and Lokomasama chiefdoms in the Karine district have benefited from the initiative by Rice Africa to imbibe in them the natural knowledge of being able to identify, prepare and develop a piece of land to enhance high yield. This is Bamoy. Bamoy is situated inside the Karine district. And this is where the Sierra Leone Agricultural Research Institute, SLARI, has their pilot phase of the Smart Valley project. Smart Valley project is designed to train and improve on farmers' techniques in order that they could produce rice on their own for sale in country. It is projected that by 2023, Sierra Leone should not be seen importing rice. The head of SLARI, Dr. Matthew Buku, also recalled that having set up these think tank entities in the country, the institution also embarked on exploring the use of improved technologies to improve rice research and production.
That is a new technique that has been introduced by the Africa Rice. It's not very different from other swamp development activities, but basically this one is low cost and involves, the farmers participating in the activity. But beyond developing the bonds, they also train the farmers on water management. He highlighted the key challenge of the improper use of fertilizers, which he says was responsible for low yields, something the Smart Valleys introduced by Rice Africa project is directed towards. Africa Rice Center permeates local knowledge to farmers that is unique to a given culture or society, a basis for local level decision making in agriculture, healthcare, and food preparation. Dr. Roland Nuhu Isaka of Africa Rice Center ran through slides of how farmers in Ghana and Liberia who have implemented the Smart Valley approach to not only indicate new farming methods but also improve their yields. Africa Rice Center recognized the Kamuyu women's farmers and the Bamoy Farmers Associations as the best two entities that have gone through the Smart Valleys project training. A conducted tour of the rice farm of Tamarane Farmers Association of Bamoy in the Dibia Kase chiefdom by SLARI and stakeholders was done to showcase the impact of the Smart Valleys project pilot phase. Soriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
The Ministry of Information and Communications has organized a day dialogue session with the information, communications and technology sector at the Place Resort, Tokyo. The theme is enhancing synergy between the government and ICT operators for the development of digital economy. The purpose of the session was to map out key challenges facing the information communications technology sector and come out with solutions. Joseph Ture has the story.
Information technology is very vital to national development, especially in developing countries within Africa. Over the years, concerns have been raised over the quality and accessibility of services provided by a global system for mobile communications (GSM) companies for public consumption. This gathering is set to strategically identify the real challenges facing information communication technology and the global system for mobile communications GSM operators. The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Ramanswari, said the government is determined to improve the conditions of service, not only limited to reducing tariff, but also ensuring that wider coverage to rural communities. Government, he noted, will also ensure that it creates the enabling environment for investors in the information and communication sector. The minister also noted that second week in December 2018, a technical team will help to put together a cyber security in the country.
We currently have 71% of Sierra Leoneans who can access mobile phone services, okay, according to the mixed survey done by the Stats Sierra Leone. 71% of Sierra Leoneans have access to mobile coverage. 25% of the country has no form of connectivity. 25% no form of connectivity, right? You have another 4% who can be lucky when there are fluctuations or when there are signal spillovers. A 4% gets it.
He added that at the end of the session, they will sign a joint communique on a clear action plan. The Human Resources and Administration Chief, Africell Mobile Network, Abdulaziz Gabizi, was hopeful that at the end of the session, many clear indications will have been made which will ensure the enabling environment for the global system mobile communication operators.
The Minister of Finance, Jacob Jusu Safar, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sierra Leone. The MOU now gives power to the Institute to work collectively with the Ministry of Finance to prepare budget, financial bill, among others. The signing took place at the office of the Minister of Finance. Let's join Francis Ndanema for the story.
The Memorandum of Understanding MOU gives the power to Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sierra Leone (ICASL) to contribute to budget preparation, financial bills, develop NGO policies with reference to the preparation of financial statements and auditing. ICASL will be involved in all government institution committees relating to taxation, audit and finance, working collaboratively in relevant financial trainings and promoting cooperation, coordination and communication around the government's financial policies under the new direction. President of ICASL, Buffy Billos, said the signing of the MOU shows how committed the government is looking into the issue of accountability. The Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Jacob Jusu Safar, said he met with the team in less than 3 months after his appointment as minister and realized the need to collaborate with them. The minister said he will not only stop at ICASL but will extend his collaboration on financial issues to non-state actors. He highlighted his expectations from the institute.
The MOU is in the true spirit of providing partnership between the government and the non-state actors. There's no pay obligation here, especially in the MOU, except where specific assignments are performed that require specific fee. But I'm very serious about this, and I want to see how we can implement it as we go along.
Jacob Jusu Safar described ICASL as the backbone of the finance ministry since it provides the standard guidelines for accountancy practice. He said the relationship between ICASL and Ministry of Finance will be strengthened through the signed MOU. SLBC News, Francis Ndanema reporting.
The Deputy Minister of Youth Affairs, Alusain Kalon, has called for the lasting solution to address burning issues of youth in the country. He was speaking during a roundtable discussion with youth experts with the aim of discussing challenges and obstacles hindering youth development. The roundtable session was organized by the National Youth Commission. Maria Masuma reports.
To profile long-lasting solutions on how to address the plight and demands of young people, and Sierra Leone is among countries that are making efforts to revamp and regain the dignity of young people. It is against this background that the Youth Commission and the Ministry of Youth Affairs are at present reviewing and designing its policies that will inject new synergies to burning issues of youth. The Deputy Minister of Youth Affairs, Alusain Kalon, said that the roundtable meeting created an opportunity to review and bring in new ideas on youth-formulated policies. He spoke about his ministry's determination to provide space and opportunity that will help transform the lives of young people. Commissioner of the National Youth Commission, Golo Kata, said that the platform brings together youth agencies and partners to discuss and identify core issues that affect young people's development. He spoke about their determination to change the landscape of youth empowerment, adding that 2019 will be a turnaround for young people. Program Manager Youth Commission Momodu Wuri said that the high-table meeting looked at lessons learned in the area of poverty eradication, youth unemployment, and sustainable development for young people. He said that experts spoke about identifying possible potentials for young people for an increased investment with innovative approach and the promotion of peace inclusiveness among them. He called on developmental partners and the private sector to increase their coherence and be able to coordinate towards the rights and needs of young people. He said that the roundtable is expected to promote new and deeper knowledge of emerging issues affecting young people. He described youth unemployment as a central political security issue, whilst job creation is a key tool for peace and sustainable development.
We'll now move over to our entertainment story. Natasha Beckley is a household name in terms of pageantry in Sierra Leone. She was one time Miss Sierra Leone USA and took first runner-up in the Miss Africa USA. Natasha also represented Sierra Leone in Miss World a couple of years ago. She just concluded this year's Miss Universe 2019 at the Family Kingdom, which attracted thousands of people. 9 contestants took part, representing different districts across the country. Miss Potloko, 21-year-old Marie Esther Bangura, was crowned winner for this year's Miss Universe 2019. Let's join Mohamed Kimilan Bangura for the details.
Natasha Beckley is a household name in terms of pageantry in Sierra Leone. She was one time Miss Sierra Leone USA and came first runner-up in the Miss Africa USA. She also represented Sierra Leone in Miss World a couple of years ago. Her passion and zest for the modern industry took her to another level, where today she has the franchise in organizing Miss Universe in Sierra Leone.
When I was a former Miss, it's funny, I used to send Miss Universe Christmas cards. Sierra Leone was not competing at that time. Miss Universe has been going on for 68 years. Sierra Leone's only participated once. This would be our second time. I felt it necessary that my country is just as competitive, my country is just as important to be on such a platform. So for about 7 years, I was sending them Christmas cards. And then I think in 2016, they were tired of my Christmas cards, and they finally invited Sierra Leone, and I bought the franchise.
Natasha Beckley just concluded this year's Miss Universe 2019 at the Family Kingdom, which attracted thousands of people. 9 contestants took part, representing different districts across the country. And Miss Potloko, 21-year-old Marie Esther Bangura, was crowned the winner for this year's Miss Universe 2019. Marie grew up in the Moritown area and attended the Moritown Army Municipal School and the Methodist Girls High School. And at present, she is the first-year student at the IPAM University. She said she was brought up by a single parent and wanted to do her best in making her mom happy. According to her, she had no interest before in becoming a model, but as God will have it, she was spotted on the streets by Miss Natasha Beckley, who encourages her to involve in the modeling act, as she believes that she has the potential of becoming great in the future.
I was afraid, and I was thinking I was not good enough to be part of it or something, and I was thinking, what if I made something bad and people will laugh at me? And until the day I met Miss Natasha Beckley, I was going for work. I just started my work. And she called me. She was actually driving, and she called me. She said, hey, she asked me my name and what I'm doing and if I'm into pageantry. And I said, no, I love to, but I'm afraid. I don't think it will be possible for me to be in something like this. And she said, you're pretty, you're beautiful, you can do it if you put your mind to it. And
Marie, we just crowned her 2 days ago, so we're getting to know her. But I've worked with her as we prepare for camp. She's extremely bold. and that's what we look for. She knows who she is, and she knows who she is, and she doesn't try to be what she's not. And for Miss Universe Sierra Leone, that's the goal.
Miss Universe 2019 will be representing Sierra Leone in Thailand. According to Natasha Beckley, she is facing serious constraints and appeals to the government and kind-hearted citizens to come to her aid in helping Miss Universe 2019 make a trip to Thailand to represent our beloved country in this year's Miss Universe. Miss Universe 2019 Marie Estebangua appeals for more support and prayers from the public, as she believes that she will definitely create an impact in this year's Miss Universe. She said she's open up to learn more and has the zeal to push a project, which is the misuse of social media. She speaks on her plans to spread the idea of a project and urges the public to support her.
Well, I tend to open a social media campaign. I want to sensitize users about the misuse of social media and to help them use social media in a positive way rather than the negative.
Many thanks there to Mohamed Kimilan Bangura for the latest in entertainment. Well, with that, we bring the news to a close. The headlines again. Sierra Leone has joined other countries to observe World Toilet Day. Ministry of Information and Communications is holding a dialogue session with the Information Communications Technology sector. And the National Revenue Authority Anti-Smuggling Unit has apprehended a truckload of assorted drugs. That's all in this edition of News Hour Live from the SLBC. My name is David Patrick Kamara. Bye for now.